Yeah, we're recording. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much for agreeing for the interview. Welcome to another interview. It is, I feel like nothing else, because for me, it is, I'm still a little starstruck because I had read many articles, seen many videos and some interviews. So for me, it is an honor to have you here today. Let's please start with your own introduction. And I really wanted to tell all of you guys why I do this is because first of all, I don't like memorization of introductions. It's a lot of work. And sometimes what you read off of the internet articles and stuff, it might not be how the person would actually want to introduce themselves. So that's why I give all my guests that are on here with me on my show to introduce themselves however they like. So let's start with your introduction and then dive right into a conversation.
So I am Mpho, Tutu van Furth, and I assume that there was something that you saw or read or heard that made you want to have the interview. So I throw it back to you and say, what was it that interested you in talking with me?
I mean, I feel that I've seen you a lot now because of the award as well, the whole ceremony of the International Services Peace Prize. And because I actually applied for that, I got in the top 169. So I did get shortlisted, and then after that, I did not hear back. But that's when I really started following up on everybody that has been part of the ceremonies and there. So that's where I saw you. And then I got to know that you and your father, Desmond Tutu, co-authored a book on forgiveness. And I learned a little more about that, but not much actually. And I really wanted to know how that has been working out because my dad's my manager and he manages a lot of things for me, the interviews, back end stuff. Working with my dad is an interesting thing. And I really wanted to know how it is on such a big level because I'm working on a small level right now and I hope to reach a big level.
Well, I have worked with my dad on several things. So I've worked with him on two books. Made for Goodness, which was the first book that we wrote together, and then the Book of Forgiving, which is the more recent book that we wrote together. What I will say about working with my dad is that it has been a real pleasure. When we wrote Made for Goodness, I was at the time living in the US and my dad was living in South Africa. And so it was just a real pleasure to have time with him to focus on writing the book together and on the story that we wanted to tell. My dad was an English teacher, and so he has a very high level of attention to language. And after I had done outlining what it was that we wanted to talk about, it was really lovely to have an opportunity to hear him tell stories of his life, and also to experience his reflection and the conversations that we were able to have in doing that. And then subsequently, I worked really with both of my parents because I was the founding executive director of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation, and even just in imagining what a nonprofit organization, what a foundation would look like that really honored my parents and honored their legacy, gave me another opportunity to work with them and to really dig into their wisdom and their hopes for the world and for our future.
That's beautiful, and I feel like I dream to work like that with both of my parents. Just with one of them, it is a little difficult, and at times it gets very, very interesting. Um, let's start from the beginning. How was your early childhood? Do you have any memories that you'd like to share?
I was born in England, in London. My parents were studying at the time. My dad was studying at the time. And we moved back to South Africa when I was about 3 years old, and we lived in the Eastern Cape province in South Africa. My father was teaching at the time. My mother was at that time worked in the library for the university. We went back to England, and so I did all of my primary school in England, and then back to South Africa. I went to high school in Swaziland at one of the United World Colleges. It wasn't at that time part of the United World College system. It was Waterford Kamhlaba in Swaziland, and it was a school. This was during the apartheid era, and it was a school that was actually created in response to apartheid. So the apartheid laws divided children by race and provided education on the basis of racial background. And so this school was created because the people who established the school said it was abnormal to separate children on the basis of race. And so they accepted children into the school on the basis of ability, and helped to organize scholarships for children who were academically able but financially unable to attend the school. And that was really a wonderful experience for me. At that time, we had about 300 students in the school, but we represented about 50 countries. And so, it really was a place where you got to experience people from all over the world, from all kinds of different cultures and all kinds of religious backgrounds, who really it helped to broaden our ways of thinking, and help to challenge our assumptions about, what's the world supposed to look like, what is right, why do we make the choices that we make. And I think that that's something that's really important to have, is that sense of that the way we do it is the way we do it. But it's not necessarily the only way to do it, and it's not even necessarily the right way to do it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, because I'm a scholarship student at the Socratic Experience, and I have a very different background. I'm from Pakistan, and I'm a Muslim. I'm a practicing Muslim, and I'm a girl. So there's many different things about me, and when I am there with people primarily from America, different religions, though I never ask. But when I sit with all of them, I always feel that I have a perspective, or I have a way of doing things because of me being from a different part of the world, and things being done differently here. We were talking about taxes like the other day, right? So I feel like it is priceless to how valuable different perspectives are when especially I feel like developing years, like teenage years. Like, I'm a high schooler as well. I just started high school this year. Just to talk about different things, how things are done, and also about different topics around the world, because everyone has a different perspective, which is because of where they come from and who they are. And I feel like it's beautiful to see how people can have different ideas and to experience that from a young age rather than being an adult and then struggle with it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And so now talking about different ideas, people do have different ideas on peace and peace building, but I'd really love to know yours.
Well, I mean, I think that we begin building peace by being peace. It's really hard to create outside yourself what you can't embody or hold within yourself. And so really cultivating a peaceful disposition, and cultivating, and you know, I say cultivating it because it's not easy work. It's not something, or for most people, it's not something that comes easily. It is something about which we must be intentional. And sometimes, you know, for some people, it's really kind of marching against the grain of what your natural tendencies would be. But you know, that the more that we're able to be and embody peace, the more we're able to create that in our surroundings, and the more we're able to allow that to ripple out, to ripple out from us. And ultimately, in order to create peace, we have to engage with those who we would consider to be our enemies. You know, that you don't need a peace treaty with your friends. You need a peace treaty with the people with whom you disagree.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like it may be hard at times, but talking things out in a respectful manner, it goes a long, long way. And I mean, what I've seen, and we have, I think, on political ways, it is because we don't sit down. We just feel like that person from this background said something about us, and now we're gonna say something about that person just because we heard what they said.
Yeah.
I feel like talking directly would just be better. And again, I'm a 14-year-old. I'm like, why do they have to do this? Right. So I have little different ideas.
Well, I mean, the gift of being a 14-year-old, and holding that, why do they have to do that position, is that it is one that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. That it's a wonderful kind of curiosity about other people to also cultivate, because if you come from the posture of curiosity, you're less likely to go up in flames when somebody says something that lands in a hurtful way, that lands with you in a hurtful way. You'll get much further by asking, you know, well, why did you do that? Why did that make sense to you? Rather than getting angry and defensive.
That is true. And so I've been working in peace and peace activism and just talking about peace from people from diverse backgrounds, like different people from around the world. It has been about 2 years. And in all the work that I've done in many global waves of love, and I've been working primarily with International Children's Month, and I work a lot with young people. The first question that I really thought of, and I still think of, and I really want to know from you, is is working for peace and talking about peace we're just able to do that through activism because I chose activism. I wanted to be a peace activist. Do you feel like it's the only active way that you could do it, or even be recognized for the work you do in it? Or are there other ways that you could be a peaceful human yourself and also promote peace?
Well, I think that peace activism, kind of doing peace work out in the world, is really important, and that is one of the vectors, one of the paths on which we achieve change and global harmony. I think that working on yourself and working on your relationships in the communities that are closest to you. And so, you also achieve peace through modeling. I don't know, when you think of people in your own family, there may be some members of your family who have a particular reputation or a particular way of being that you're like, yeah, if I'm looking for some, an example of what it means to be peaceful, I always think of my aunt so-and-so, or my cousin so-and-so, or my younger brother, or my, my dad, or whatever it is. And that person just seems to carry with them into every situation the disposition of peace, and that that is something to emulate, and just to watch. Well, what is it that they actually do, and how is it that they do it? I know what I feel when I'm with them, but what is the mechanic of what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense, because while you were saying family, there are a few people that did pop up in my mind, and I do see in how they carry themselves. Now, I was wondering while you were talking, I think a lot. Is forgiveness a part of peace? Because I would say yes. In order to sometimes make peace even with yourself or other people, you need to forgive and accept it. Would you say that, or would you believe that forgiveness is a part of peace or making?
I think that it is impossible to experience a real inner peace without experiencing forgiveness, in both directions, in the direction of being able to forgive other people and let go of the ways that they have hurt you, and also to be able to accept forgiveness for yourself, and accept that the harms that you have done can also be let go. That there's a sense of, that was then, this is now. I have learned, grown, moved on. The refusal to forgive is, in a way, to say that that everything about a person can be described by that thing that they did that was unkind or hurtful or even cruel. And the ability to forgive is the ability to say that I hope and believe that you can be something better than you were. It doesn't, it doesn't mean that you that in forgiving you have to stick around and get beaten up. That's absolutely not the case. But it is to say, I actually say, as far as it depends on me, I believe that there is a good and blessed person who resides within you, and that is the ultimate peace building tool.
I see. In all the time that I do read articles and I do hear about stories where people have done some incredibly not understandable stuff, like I said earlier, for me it's just like how, why, how, right? And sometimes it's just like I could just be sitting there and be like very, very angry and be like, how come could they? And example being how people could even think of, differentiating the education they provide based on the race. Honestly, all races, it's just like the color of the skin is different. That's it. No thinking ability or the ability to contribute to the world in their community, it's not different. And I feel like for me, trying to stay calm while talking about it has been a journey. How do you think have you dealt with just being calm about talking topics that are very close to your heart and stuff that would genuinely get to you?
Oh, I haven't always been calm. So, and yes, it is a journey. And yeah, sometimes it's frustrating, that you're not able to get your point across, or you're not able to show what you are seeing, that you can't get the other person to shift their perspective enough to see what it is that you are seeing. What you find is that it doesn't actually help to get angry. But yeah, I mean, even knowing that, and even having said that, you'll get angry sometimes, you'll get upset sometimes, you'll get frustrated sometimes, and the task is to be able to recover, reflect, come back from that, and come at it from a different standpoint.
I see. Well, for me, what I feel like really helps is just to think that there are many young activists and many young contributors that we have around the world that are active, that will be active in a few years, that are working towards solving these issues, and also bringing up and highlighting these challenges that we are, and working together towards finding solutions for it. And I feel like that's what for me is it's awesome just to think about it, and it really calms me down that yes, there are people that are going to solve this, and we're not going to see this, or maybe look back at it and be like, I don't know, that was a whole different time, but this is a whole different time. How is it for you seeing all these young people, young activists around you? Does it give you a lot of hope for the future?
Absolutely. I think, I've now attended maybe 4 or 5 of the Children's Peace Prize award ceremonies, and the not only the young people who win the awards, but just the sample of young people who submit applications, the ideas that they have, the work that they're already doing and engaging in, just really lets me know that if we say that the youth are our future, then the future is in really good hands. And I think that we as adults and as elders and adults would do really well to look to what it is that young people are saying, what it is that young people are doing, because they have an investment in making the world livable for themselves, but then also for us, also for those of us who are older.
I see, and that's beautiful. And on that note, I'd really like to thank you for being here today, and sharing all of your thoughts with us. Thank you so much for everybody that was watching. For me, it's like a dream come true talking to you today, and I hope that everyone that is in the audience found a part of it inspiring and would want to work towards peace and being peaceful with themselves as well. I am open to feedback. Thank you so much. Do stay back after I stop the recording, and I hope to be doing more sessions with you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.